am super excited today because I am coming to you with one of my most frequently asked questions, and that is, how do you organize all the things in my guided math units? So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I have created a second grade guided math year-long curriculum, and they include lesson plans and activities for a whole group lesson, a small group lesson, and independent practice. Plus there's tons of other things like assessments and games, interactive notebook activities, and all the things. So there's lots of components to it, and so I often get asked, how do you organize all of it? And so today I'm coming to you from my floor to hopefully give you guys some insight on how I do that. So first I want to say I am a type B person. I'm typically not very organized. I think it looks pretty. I'm just not the best at keeping up with it. So like the other day I was prepping for this, I was getting some stuff ready, and my husband was like, someone asked you how to organize something? And I'm like, I know, right? So hopefully today I can, give you a little bit of insight on how I do that. So I'm going to be showing you one unit today. This is going to be my understanding numbers unit, but I would organize all of my units typically the same way. So I'm going to be showing you just like one particular unit today instead of all of them. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we are going to get started. The first two things I'm going to show you are the storage containers that I use. For my master copies, I use 1-inch binders, and then I use these storage containers from Michaels. I'm going to show you the binder first, and then we'll move into what is inside the scrapbook container. So these are 1-inch binders, and I have found 1 inch to be the perfect size. This unit, my understanding numbers unit, it's the largest one that I have. It's 4 weeks long, and so it holds all of my master copies and everything perfectly. It's not too big and it's not too small. If you own my curriculum bundle, you will be receiving these covers and the spine labels. You will be receiving those as a bonus download with your purchase within the next couple of weeks, so you can be on the lookout for those things. So let's take a peek inside the binder. I use plastic sheet protectors basically for everything because I'm really weird when it comes to my master copies. I don't like holes to be punched in them on the side, because if they were to punch through like any of my wording or something on on an activity that I'm running off, I don't like that. So I use plastic sheet protectors. You could also put tabs down the side for each section if you wanted. I just chose not to do that at this time because I kind of have everything sectioned off how I want it, and I'll probably add tabs eventually, but for now this will work. So the first sleeve includes all of my lesson plans, so I can just easily slide them out. The second sleeve contains my vocabulary anchor charts that go along with this lesson. The third sleeve holds my assessments. So I just recently added pre-test to all of my units, so if you haven't downloaded to get these updates, make sure to do that. But this holds the pre-assessment and then the data checklist that goes with it for the master copies. Then after that, I break it down day by day. So in each of my units, every day has this daily overview page with a description of the activity and then like a photo example of what the kids will be doing. So I put this in the front so that I have like a clear overview, and then I put the master copies for each activity behind the overview page. And the reason why I did it this way is so that I can just grab the sleeves that I need and take them to the copy machine with me. Whereas if I don't have them, separated out by day, when I go to put things back in order, they might be, they might get all jumbled up or mixed together, and I don't want that. And so you can see here, so like for this activity, if there is something that I make that can be used, year after year, or if I have an example that I want to show my kids, instead of throwing it away, if I can, I'll just tuck it back behind the master copies so that I don't have to remake it every year. So, so like another example, like if they're making a pocketbook, I might take my example of the pocketbook and put it with my master copies so that I always have it. Same thing with pocket chart sorts. So a lot of my pocket chart sorts, they can be repurposed to use in stations later on. But with these, you could keep a master copy for your whole group lesson, or the set that you're going to use for your whole group lesson, you could also keep those back here as well. So again, I have my daily overview page followed by the master copies behind. And so this is my largest unit. This unit is 20 days. I'm just going to kind of quickly flip through these here so that you can see. So my binder holds is really mainly just for my master copies. This was a craft that the kids could do during small group time. There were 2 different options, and so one of the examples I just kept like my example copy, and you can just tuck it in the back so that you have it for the following year. All right, then after the like the daily overview pages, then I keep all of my higher order thinking questions in a plastic sleeve as well for the master copies. You won't have colored copies like this, I mean, unless you want to run your higher order thinking tasks on colored paper, but these are just the ones that I used for my photos, so I just kind of tucked them back there. And then last, this is probably more for me rather than for you. But because I take photos of my resources and things like that, I have all of my extra pieces that I just tuck away in one sleeve at the very back. That way, if I need to pull something out again, like I always have it and I'm not having to reprint. So you could do that, if you have extra copies of something, like pocket chart headers or anchor chart, headers, things like that, you could tuck those away in an extra pocket as well. So that is how I organize the binder. So again, I've got my lesson plans, the anchor charts, the assessments, followed by the daily overviews, like just broken up by day with their master copies. So that's how I organize the binder. And then I keep all of my prepped activities inside these storage containers that I got from Michael's. These are large scrapbooking containers. I believe they're by Iris. I could be wrong, but they're 12 by 12, and then they actually have 2 sizes. I think these are the large, and then the smaller ones, they're still 12 by 12, but they're not as deep. And I got these when they're on sale. They go on sale pretty frequently. And I got these, I believe they were around like $4 or $5 a piece, and they come in lots of fun colors. The reason why I chose the large ones is because it holds all of my prepped activities in one storage case. So let's open this up and take a look. All right, so inside here, I've got one of the activities in the unit is I'm creating a number line, and so I use these plates as an example. And so instead of remaking these plates year after year, I can just keep them in the container so that I always have them. I've got, large sets of number cards, that we use for various activities, and they're just binder clipped. There are, inside these are pocket chart sort activities. These are going to be like my master ones that I use for my whole group lesson. So if you didn't want to put these in your binder, because it would make your binder not lay like completely flat, it would have a little bump in it, you could put them in a Ziploc baggie, write which ones they are, and then throw them in there. And then one of the main reasons why I chose this is because it holds all of my prepped activities perfectly. So there's several different ways that you can organize, your stations. You can use gallon Ziploc bags. You can use laminated manila folders. These are large enough to where they will hold all of those and they're not like bended up, I guess. I recently started using these poly zip folders. Now, guys, I haven't used these always. I recently started investing in these, and I'm slowly, just replacing my Ziploc bags and my manila folders a little at a time. The reason why I like these so much is because one, you can actually close them with all of your pieces inside. These will fit a 8x11 piece of paper, so the recording sheet, the direction page, all of that, it fits everything in there, even when it's laminated, and you can still zip it and close it, whereas if you had a Ziploc bag with these pieces in there, the tops of your papers are going to stick out and they're not going to be able to close it all the way. They're also large enough to where you can store, let me find an example. Here's one. You can store like items needed for that activity inside. So with this activity, they've got their set of task cards, but they also need clothespins. And so these are, they're big enough to where I can have all of my pieces, manipulatives, whatever they need inside one bag, and it still fits in the container perfectly. So these are poly zip folders. I got these on Amazon. I believe I got 36 of them it was under $20. And so that was the best deal that I had found on these. And so like I said, I don't have these for every single station that I have. I'm just kind of slowly starting to replace my Ziploc bags. Okay, and then another reason why I like these containers is because they're large enough to hold my large craft examples. So if I were to take these example crafts and save them, for the following year, if I put them in my binder, because they're tall, the tops would stick out of the plastic sleeve, and I don't want that. And so because these containers are 12 by 12, they fit all of my crafts, so I can lay them in there flat in the bottom, and then I have my examples to reuse year after year. You can also, these fell out of a zip folder, but so like if you have particular manipulatives or things like that that you only use for a particular unit, then those can, they can all go in here as well. Because they're large enough, if you have books, that go with a particular topic. So if you've got a book about even and odd numbers, then you could stick those books in here with this, with your resources, so that everything is in one place. Another thing that I liked about these containers, the larger ones, the smaller ones are great too. But you could take your binder, depending on, like how much stuff you have in, but you can take your binder, you can see here's my binder, and I can stick it in a unit in the container, and it will close, so everything, is all in one place. Whoops, I forgot to put the plates back in here. So again, that is why I chose to use these particular containers. They're very, they're very durable. I think that they would be, long lasting. And so they would be great. You can put them in a storage cabinet or on a shelf or something like that. So that is how I organize my guided math units. And if you've got any questions at all about, organizing, or how I keep all of the components together, let me know and I would be happy to help. All right, y'all have a good day. Bye.